Welcome to the Nutrigenomic Nation podcast with Bryan Highfield, certified nutritionist, author, speaker, and founder of multiple successful companies in the health world. Bryan is known for educating healthcare professionals and others on improving their health and their life through breakthroughs in nutrition, technology, and biochemistry. On the podcast, Bryan interviews thought leaders in the world of nutrition and natural health. He and his guests share the secrets of a whole life natural approach to health and the life-altering results you can get by making easy changes to your diet and daily routine.
Well, welcome to another episode of Nutrigenomic Nation, where we talk about varying hot topics related to your good health. And today we have a great guest with us this afternoon. We have Dr. Bryan Kappe. Dr. Bryan Kappe is a chiropractor near Oakland, California. Welcome to the program, Dr. Kappe.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, one thing we always like to ask our guests, because our audience wants to get to know you a little bit. And so can you tell us a little bit about your background and what made you want to become a chiropractor in the first place?
Sure. I grew up in the Bay Area. And so for those who are not familiar, Oakland is right here across the bridge from San Francisco. And in this area, there's a lot of chiropractors. There's a lot of alternative medicine. There's a culture around like progressive ideas around how to make this more accessible to the diversity in the Bay Area and the different approaches that people have towards, caring for themselves, their loved ones, and different cultural takes on that. And so within that context, I happened to have a ailment in my body in my early 20s that led me to really look at, this kind of culture and find myself in it. And then I enrolled in chiropractic college and learned a lot about what I was going through with my pain and the origin of this pain and how many things go into that. And that's perfect context for learning how to be a chiropractor. So then I was, just like astounded and completely, life-changing events and effects on me by all these amazing, passionate professors that I couldn't have predicted. But that experience in the Bay Area here with the two colleges here that I ended up spending time at both of those colleges, Life West in Hayward, California, and Palmer West in San Jose, California, where I'm a recent graduate in September 2020. So the context of that and how I got here goes back, 5 years or 10 years, to when my injuries first happened, and comes out right here at this really pivotal time. And it's really interesting.
So tell us a little bit about something that you learned in studying to be a chiropractor that you were just floored by. What's something that our audience would be surprised by, either from nutrition or just from chiropractic medicine in general? I mean, what's something that was just like an aha moment for you during your studying?
There were so many. On a personal level, it was amazing to be trained into the idea of healing with your hands, assessing with your hands, creating connection with patients, not just based on that component of it, but also the communication and the bedside manner that so many people feel is lacking in their healthcare experiences. So that for me is most memorable, just how that was transformative. And but in terms of the facts or the research or the philosophy or the artistic nature of the adjustment, it's just so much and so many years of study that go into this that any chiropractor could speak to. And just the sheer volume of that energy is worth noting as the big as the main thing. And that that if you were to experience all that, or if you were to peer into that a little bit more, you'd find a treasure trove of information.
Awesome. And a couple of things I picked from your website, it says that chiropractic results in an 85% reduction in pharmaceutical costs. And also chiropractic patients are 62% less likely to require surgeries. Can you explain that a little bit? Why is that so significant?
Oh, it's just extremely significant. I mean, we need more research. It means that we can, when we discuss the philosophy of health that most people go into, we can, take people that are interested in chiropractic and direct them to the research that supports how they want to think about this. So, like I said, the main thing to note about my background and what I see from the Bay Area and my experience here is that culture of medicine, and how we can do a better job of giving people what they want. So ultimately, it's just a way of facilitating that, because everyone could use a little more, prevention and drug-free, treatment. And then the outcomes are very favorable for pain relief. So if that's why you started with chiropractic, that will work most of the time. And then, you should, or you can look into, how this could impact your entire life as you, look into what it means to get older and deal with health issues. So we do a good job of explaining that, providing in that context. And so really prevention is a huge part of what chiropractic is all about.
Yeah. So some of your patients, I mean, are they seeking you out because they just, have a distaste for modern medicine, or maybe they've tried it and it just hasn't worked for them? Maybe they're coming to you as a last resort, or are you seeing any of that or all that?
So actually, yeah. So I've been very busy for 6 months since I launched, and I worked in very busy offices here in the Bay Area before that, and did my residency here. So, I've been seeing patients for quite a while, and not as much as not as long as many, but for me, I'm have a good start, and once you see hundreds of patients, you realize that the experiences that people have with their diagnoses, or clinical experience with hospitals, I would just say like that. I don't know how to refer to it as what type of medicine. It's just they come from a hospital and this is what they experience there, or they rarely that's the majority of what I experience is misdiagnosis, or lack of explanation. Not necessarily anything really that complicated around that form of confrontation in medicine. Just simply that if I can help them a little bit more, or clear things up for them. And when I say misdiagnosis, I just simply mean that the subtleties of musculoskeletal diagnoses are sometimes lost on the clinical process for patients that go in and feel like they aren't really listened to, and then an x-ray with an x-ray report is not exactly explained to them, and then they're not really quite clear on how to actually get out of this situation, or move forward with this this pain. So I know that experience very well. That's what I experienced at 21. So there's a lot of musculoskeletal conditions that are best addressed by chiropractors, and can be actually treating the cause by looking at what chiropractors look at and treat. So basically there is a need and demand, and that's what you see with many patients. That definitely, since I opened up private practice, that's a lot of what I experienced. So maybe my website is speaking to some of that, but yeah, there's a need, and people feel like that, that this second opinion, or that this experience between chiropractic or physical therapy, private clinics, private style of medicine, or a way of being holistic is, essential to how life, how people live life here. So yeah, it puts the emphasis on what it is that, those institutions can do to improve, to make sure that people feel like they're supported by medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've heard, a lot of doctors talk about this, and it's mostly from patients and often is the case where the patient will see their family doctor, or their practitioner, where they do a lot of testing, but they're not spending a lot of personal time with the patient to really understand what's going on. That the office visit, they spend more time in the waiting room than they do in the actual room visiting the doctor, and actually correctly, arriving at the root cause of the problem. And so I think chiropractors really fill a need there, both from the patient's need to feel like that they've been heard and addressing the issue, and secondly, around kind of what you're describing of getting to more of the root of the problem rather than treating symptoms. Is that kind of what you were talking about there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of detail. I mean, that's the work that I do, right? I see patients, and I don't always, open up to speak about my experience with that. But, ultimately, I'm practicing chiropractic technique to do this. And chiropractic technique says that if we can, seek and find and see the mechanical, issues in the body, the joint mechanics of the body not working appropriately, we know that has effects on the muscles, and that has effects on the nervous system, and that we can counteract those effects so that the body can self-regulate and self-heal.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, about the natural response in the body and kind of self-heal. Do you have maybe just a story from one of your patients, possibly, where someone comes in with an issue? Maybe it's pain, maybe it's something else, but you were able to kind of get at least to have them feel better, if not correct the issue, through getting a natural response in the body.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty frequent occurrence. Like, let's say, we have good research to support this, but when it comes to headaches or migraines, I've been able to see that effect. So I don't say that I treat these things. I can say that chiropractic has favorable outcomes with the research on this, but what I see happening in my clinic definitely supports that those outcomes can be seen. And I would say that would more of a physiological effect, could be really evidenced. So that's an example. But then the effects that allow for the recovery from pain so widespread in the body definitely speak to a larger effect than just like locally at that single nerve, where that single spinal vertebra is misaligned. So we're getting more and more research that says that's not necessarily what chiropractors do, although that was a good analogy, but we do something within that same context of removing nerve interference, or resulting in a different self-regulating balance for the body, based on all these effects that we see that the adjustment itself has. But when you take a structural approach and you treat a patient over time, that's really the amazing part. So it's not just one adjustment, but it's treating them over time, educating the patient, just making for a healthier system for that patient. And so whatever those health goals are, whatever those performance goals are, I do a lot of athletic sports chiropractic, and everyone that is attempting to be healthy is attempting to eat right and treat their body right and exercise right. And a lot of exercise strategies are at play here, a lot of diversity. So it's fun to work with people and meet people where they are with their bodies and just help them express health better.
Awesome. So one of my favorite questions to ask our guests is let's say that you're in a stadium full, tens of thousands of people that want to improve their health, and you're given the microphone and be able to speak to these thousands of people. What advice would you give to these folks? What are some general things that everyone should follow to improve and live a longer, healthier life?
Sure. I would say go to a chiropractor. I would say, make sure that you've looked into that, because we know that the spine encases the nervous system, and the nervous system controls every part of the body. I would also say really look into nutrition, look into what your body needs as fuel and as requirements for, healthy expression of the full functionality of the body, and work with a professional on that. And I would also say exercise routinely, try to get to the root of your pain from a musculoskeletal standpoint, and, recover well, train well, work smarter, not harder when it comes to your body and your vitality.
Awesome. Good advice. So how can our audience get in touch with you or learn a little bit more about what you do in your practice?
Sure. You can email me at Bryan at liveandeasechiro.com. You can come visit me in Oakland if you're in the area, 868 Walker Avenue, Oakland. And it's near Lake Merritt. And yeah, you can reach out to me via email. You can text me at 510-880-3608. And I can add you to my subscriber list if you reach out to me.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kappe, with being with us today. So our guest has been Dr. Bryan Kappe, who is a doctor of chiropractic from Oakland, California. And I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I hope you join us next time when we talk about another topic related to your genetic health. Thank you for listening today, and thank you again, Dr. Bryan Kappe.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.